Preceded by previous acts, the National Historic Preservation Act of 1966 resulted in the creation of State Historic Preservation Offices, or SHPOs. These acts provide legal protection for both historic and prehistoric cultural resources and enforce standards for cultural properties management. Montana SHPO works together with all Montanans, state and federal agencies to promote the preservation of our state's historic and cultural places. SHPO also consults with tribal historic preservation offices, or THPOs, regarding matters of common interest. The NHPA also created a National Register of Historic Places. The NRHP requires, in its Section 106 provision, that agencies take into consideration the effect a project would have on sites listed in the National Register. Later legislation revised the process by also including effects to sites that were eligible for listing. SHPO performs the duties outlined in Section 101 of the NHPA and the Montana State Antiquities Act of 1995. Under both laws, the SHPO is charged with advising, assisting, and cooperating with federal, state, and tribal authorities to ensure cultural resources are taken into consideration at all levels of development. Under both laws, the SHPO is charged with directing and conducting a statewide survey of historic properties and maintaining a list of those properties. They are also required to prepare and implement a statewide historic preservation plan. Further, they identify and nominate eligible properties to the NRHP and administer and review applications for listing. Under both laws, the SHPO is charged with providing public information, education, training, technical assistance, and historic preservation. In Montana, the SHPO receives state and federal sponsored reports that document projects' effects on cultural resources. These documents are reviewed for adequacy and how well the project and/or resource effects have been addressed. SHPO responds to the sponsoring agency whether they concur with the agency decisions and whether documentation is adequate. The SHPO also reviews and advises on any rehabilitation or stabilization project for properties either listed in or eligible for listing in the NRHP. SHPO maintains files for all National Register and National Historic Landmark sites. This includes nomination forms and any modifications and correspondence associated with these properties. Properties that are nominated to the NRHP, the SHPO reviews draft nominations and comments on the adequacy of the information submitted. SHPO also issues antiquities permits for the collection of archaeological or paleontological remains on state-owned lands. SHPO maintains professional staff that can advise on and provide technical assistance to local government programs and to grant programs for historic preservation activities. Beyond the federal regulations, the state of Montana has two important laws that govern the treatment of heritage resources on state lands. Firstly, the State Antiquities Act of 1995 addresses the responsibilities of the SHPO and other state agencies regarding historic, prehistoric, and paleontological resources on state lands. The law requires each state agency to establish rules regarding cultural resources under their jurisdiction. Secondly, the Human Skeletal Remains and Burial Site Protection Act provides legal protection to all unmarked burial sites regardless of age, ethnic origin, or religious affiliation. The law prevents the unnecessary disturbance and display of human remains. A 13-member Burial Preservation Board, comprised of individuals that meet professional historic preservation standards, determines the treatment and final disposition of human remains and associated burial materials.